I really know what I like in life. And that's all I'm going to base my life on. I've been taking advice from people, and I don't think it's good for me. So get a pen and paper and write down what I really like. So I'm not going to be a rock and roll star at 68. No. But I love playing music and I like making people happy. I play piano, guitar, and I can make a bit of money at it. I don't like living by myself and cooking and paying prices out for this stuff. So I've been studying a lot of courses on holistic mental health because I had problems. But I lost trust in psychology and psychiatry because of the agendas on there. And I started looking at, I don't have an agenda, just things that will open people up and they can go on their own with skills. And just help people that are ready for finding a better way. I get angry, and I have to do EFT tapping. I hear a lot of things that have hurt me, and that's psychology and psychiatry that I think is getting dogmatized and it's generalized. So I listened to Dr. Gabor Mate, and he was talking about the myth of normal. And I really agree with that. I don't think anybody can generalize. I was working with another animal communicator about I'm an animal psychic like her. She says you can't generalize people's grief. I love that. And I was doing that, and I'm glad she kicked me for it. You can't generalize people's grief with a pet loss. And I'm just wondering what I can generalize. Everything's a blanket statement I'm hearing all the time about advice. Successful people find themselves first. So I could get into talking about Kundalini awakening, all this stuff. Sometimes we're not ripe for it. I've awakened through Kundalini and at my age. I'm a wise man? No, I'm just me. I don't have to be anybody. I don't. As you get older, it's not about influencing people. It's about being you. You go through a history of meditations and practices to look at your past and what made you happy and what was the foundation of life. And what doesn't make you happy is hearing all these advices. And they throw you all over the sea of never ending nonsense. I've given up on generalized psychology and psychiatry. But I haven't given up on helping people and not making promises I can't really. I don't want to go out there and say I can fix you. It's up to you. See, that's the mistake with medicine, putting doubts in people's minds and letting them find their path. Mental health is an issue, and I think a lot of the issues is social media and voices around us telling us how to be and how not to be without knowing who we are. 1970s, I was in a class. It was a psychic workshop. Know thyself. It was a workbook, and we went through a program of knowing thyself. I had been tossed around, and I knowing core values is not opinions. Knowing that these are your core values, and it might not be yours. That's fine. But I just have core values, and I was taking transformational life coaching. Yeah. And I liked what he said. He's got a PhD in psychology that's very open. He's a life coach, but he's got a PhD in psychology. So I hear a lot of rubbish, and I think it's a lot of ego. I'm a therapist, and I know that life coaching is not therapy. No, but it's sort of a therapy of getting people's lives together and asking the questions and really helping them discover what they want. A lot of therapies are got an agenda attached to them. And I see a lot of women get in there and they're so blatantly, I've seen this in the horse business too. You get agendas that I don't like. I don't like the agenda because that's not them and that's not you. And that's the problem with psychology. And life coaching is understanding a positive psychology, getting them out of programs that don't suit them. Get their head. Now, it takes a long time to learn this and really get some understanding of psychology. But I got a type of psychology I call dark psychology, and that's manipulation. And it's used in consumerism. It's used in a lot of things. I don't like that sort of psychology. Humanitarian psychology. I heard my friends in the United States. We talked about a lot about this. He's a PhD in psychology, but it's positive humanitarian psychology. So that's freedom of the mind. I hear another a therapist. He says, "I'm giving up with this." No, just shift gears. Just shift gears. You know, most illnesses are caused by trauma. And I know people need to resonate with who they are and where they began and what their life is about. And look at the positives in your life. That's why we're so unhappy. We're listening to everybody. We're listening to all these psychologists that have agendas. And you don't know that you've got an agenda because you're getting into, I got a PhD. I'm a doctor of mental health. I don't think that's good because it's attached to your ideology of what your life is. Do you understand that? Do you explore why you say shame with sexuality? Do you explore that? It really makes me angry seeing this. Now, I'm not much for pornography and hurting people, but going and saying to men that watch pornography, they're self-regulating, okay? Self-regulating is sexual masturbation and pornography. But should we be ashamed of it? Or should we fix the problem of quit traumatizing people? I meet a lot of young men that are criminals or drug addicts, but I listen to an underlying trauma. And I think that's more compassionate. I think psychology, some of them are good. Compassion. It's in every camp. There's compassion and there's narcissism. I know a woman that's a crisis worker for the police. She's a police officer. I listen to her and she's very compassionate. I like listening to her. It can be in some people in the healthcare system are very heartful, very compassionate. And others start listening to Jordan Peterson, which I really don't approve of, because he's talking about a different frame of being. At my age, it's about making people happy, and it's about happiness. So I follow the Eastern philosophy. I think everybody wants to be happy. Isn't that what materialism is about? But we're shoved on information, and I don't think that's the type of psychology I like. I like a clearing psychology, cutting cords with mirrors in people's lives, letting them find who they are and do assignments on who am I? And writing it down on paper or giving them a questionnaire and seeing life improvements. That's why I like life coaching. And that's why I like doing Reiki, because it's more freeing. Transformation. Not just therapy that doesn't seem to go anywhere. And it's all ideology. So I'm really interested in transformational therapy that is the freedom of the mind and the spirit. And that's where I'm coming to. Everybody has a right to believe their religion, their faith, interfaith. I'm all for that. But when you're starting to push things and you start to come up with a new religion called psychology, the science of everything. Psychology is an art. It's not science. Even Jung talked about it. But we get into the psychology of the mind. The generalization is not science. Observing phenomena is science. So I'm really disappointed at a lot of therapists on here. And there's some honest ones that say, I quit. And I listened to him, and he is talking about most things are traumatic. And I love Dr. Gabor Mate. I love listening to Deepak Chopra and these other spiritualists. But I have a problem with doctors to come in and try to analyze every friggin' thing. I can't do that. I can't judge you and sit there and say this is the way it is. That's a generalization. I don't know you. My belief is you finding yourself through the work I give you. That's the key. The key is to discover yourself. You have a basic background of what not to do in society because there's law and order. You don't go around hurting people and you live an ethical life. But other than that, it's wide open spaces. Myself, I don't like living in an apartment without home care, housekeeper. And I got to see a psychiatrist. And you'll say I should. No, I'll say no, I'm going to vacate. I don't like this. And this is just poor government and poor planning. I should have a housekeeper coming in and talking to me and a friend. So I go out and drink, but I don't drink to excess. And I'm getting sick of Ontario and Canada's temperance laws. I'm sick of explaining myself. I look at Australia and there's no explaining yourself. You just in the present moment. I'm sick of celebrities always getting attacked by tabloids and stuff, asking them about their ex-wife and stuff. I hate going out because I don't like talking about the past. When explaining myself, I hate the acid tests of dating women now. Be nice just to look at me and try you, and just the present moment awareness. I think that's a fair judgment. What's in the past is in the past, and I made mistakes, and you do too. But we forgive each other with kindness. We don't analyze, because that becomes a dogma. And it becomes a judgment system, just like religion. Fundamentalized religions that are hurting people. So I hear a therapist on there, and she really bugs me. Because I had a therapist like her, and I never go to another one. I've had friends that would be more advice than women. They're mostly horsewomen and musicians. I listen to them. I don't really listen to therapists now. I do my friends that do Reiki and practice and taught me all this stuff. But I don't listen to too much of this ideological. What is ideologies? These fixed mindsets that are just what you know is that's all you know. And that doesn't work with people. Everybody's different. Isn't that wonderful? Everybody's different.